Hi, I'm Mara Ivolga, an illustrator and writer. Welcome to my channel where I share my life and my journey creating the world of the Hideaway Forest. This November I turned 37, and for the first time in my life I've stopped thinking of myself as a failure. All my life I believed I was too creative to ever achieve anything. And no, that wasn't a compliment or a contradiction. It was a source of frustration, a reason to envy my more responsible and practical friends. I never quite fit in. On any stable, well-paying job, I'd get unbearably bored after 6 months because I'd inevitably come up with some new idea of my own I wanted to pursue more. A blog, handmade jewelry, anything that captured my imagination, but I was terrible at selling or promoting myself. It was pure self-expression. It brought me joy, but never money. Things got a bit easier when I discovered illustration. I fell in love with the craft and felt passionate about learning and growing. For 2 years, I lived in relative harmony with myself. Then, I created the world of the Hideaway Forest, and it completely took over my life. I felt truly in my element drawing characters and writing stories. But that's when the I'm failure feeling became unbearable. I grew up in post-Soviet Russia. While I didn't live through the USSR, I experienced the societal norms it left behind. In Russia, like much of the post-Soviet world, there is a deeply ingrained belief: creativity can't be a real job. And if you want to make money from it, you'd better be famous nationwide. Otherwise, don't even bother. Take my grandmother, for example. When I told her as a child that I wanted to be a writer, she didn't even understand what I meant. She said, "Learn to be a dental technician. You'll always have money." A dental technician makes dentures, and in a way, she wasn't wrong. That belief ruled my life even though I never consciously agreed with it. For 5 years, I treated my world of the Hideaway Forest as something that never could be real work. I didn't know how to promote myself, couldn't afford advertising or an agent, so I convinced myself it was just a hobby, a side project for my portfolio. And that thought hurt deeply. The work I did on the forest made me truly happy, while real work never brought the same joy. It always felt like I was betraying my passion while working on yet another commission. After every break from the forest, I'd return to my empty block and feel like crying. This cycle went on for 5 years. Torn between the need to make money and the desire to keep working on my project, I ended up with neither financial stability nor progress. And so the belief solidified. I'm a failure, and I always will be. Sometimes I felt close to giving up, quitting the forest entirely and focusing on freelance work like so many talented illustrators do. But this fall, something changed. It felt like I leveled up, broke free, took a deep breath for the first time. I took a risk. I asked myself, what if I treated what I'd always considered a non-commercial passion project like a business? What if I allowed myself to take my art seriously? One of the things that inspired this change was watching interviews with producer Rick Rubin on YouTube. I later found his book, The Creative Act, and I'm reading it now. I was struck by the idea that you can balance being a free-spirited artist with being a pragmatic entrepreneur. I imagined my inner artist and inner business person as two separate selves. And for the first time, I let them work together instead of in conflict. The artist creates what they truly love. Then the business person steps in, assesses the work, and asks, what can we do with this to make it profitable? And vice versa, the artist doesn't interfere when the business person gets to work, whining, "That's not why I made it." When I let my inner business person take a closer look at the Hideaway Forest, everything changed. Instead of coming up with new ideas just to please the audience, I focused on what I'd already created. First came up my illustrated ebook of fairy tales, which I assembled myself. Then I started hosting live events, intimate performances where I read my stories, show my illustrations, talk about the characters, and give the creative tasks to kids and adults. And now I'm slowly working toward bringing other ideas to life. Am I earning a lot of money? No, not yet. In fact, I have a backlog of commissions I postponed to focus on the forest. Have I gained a massive audience? Not really. But this birthday was special. I felt like I'd broken free. That shift was so profound for me that for the first time in years, I threw myself a birthday party. Now I feel free and happy, despite the challenges. The belief that I'm a failure has been replaced with the understanding that I'm solely responsible for my success. There is no such things as fate or external circumstances that make me less capable than others. That realization is both terrifying and empowering. I believe I am creating something unique, as any artist does. And I know I'm doing it with my whole heart. That alone gives me a real shot at success. And so does every artist.